Hi, Matt Lairden again with the Market Mindset Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today we get to speak with Luis de la Cruz. He's out of Denver, Colorado, with an organization called Casa Para Todos. That means houses for everyone, houses for all in English. He's dedicated himself and his career to helping Latinos, Latinas, and Hispanics with the dream of home ownership. Very motivating, inspiring individual. Started out as a sushi chef. Say that 10 times. And paid attention, talked to a lot of people when he was behind the sushi bar preparing meals, and determined that he wanted to get into real estate. He's done so very successfully. He did really well, had some challenges, and like Joel Osteen said, a setback can be a setup for a comeback. He's definitely done that. So please join me today in welcoming Luis de la Cruz, Denver, Colorado. I'm super happy to have Luis de la Cruz. He's the CEO of Casa Para Todos in Denver, Colorado. Man, I am so, just want to say thank you for joining us today, taking time out of your schedule. Man, I love Denver. My dad lives in Denver, Colorado. My sister lives in Denver, Colorado. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. Ultimately, hopefully we'll be neighbors because that's where I want to be.
Well, I tell you what, I've been here 20 years of my life. I'm 34 now, 35 actually. I just turned 35. And so I've been more in the United States and in Colorado than in Mexico. So this is definitely home for me. And I absolutely love it. Even though that in one day you can get all seasons in one day, that's what I love about it. It's so adventurous. There is so much stuff to do. And the people is beautiful. People's amazing, and I'm all about the people.
I love it. I love it. My sister and I and my dad were all from Long Beach, California. My sister moved back to marry the love of her life. And then my dad moved back there once my kids were grown. My sister had kids, and he wouldn't change it for the world. And like you said, I'm telling you, you can get all the seasons in one day. It's beautiful. It's sunny. And then my nieces will be playing soccer, and then it'll start snowing. I mean, it's incredible. And what a culture there. The restaurants are amazing. The museum, everything. What high school did you go to?
I went to Jefferson High School, but it was a new American high school.
Okay.
And I only did that for about 3 months, and then I had to get to work.
Gotcha. My niece is just enrolled in South High School. South?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they love it there. Again, beautiful. So let's talk real quick. Casa Por Todos, what is it? What do you guys do?
Casa Para Todos, home for all, right? That's what it translates to. It gives the opportunity to those forgotten by the banks to be able to own a house.
Okay.
So that's what we do. When I learned the concept of creative financing and an instance subject to, as you see in my hat.
Yes.
I just thought what a powerful tool for me to be able to bring to my community so that they can get benefited by it and they can finally own a house. As a Latino, I remember coming to the States, and the ability to be able to own a house, it was just unheard of for people like me.
Right.
None of the people that I knew around me owned their house, and none of us understood what credit was, because back in home, we don't buy things with credit. We buy cash. And if you don't have the money, you don't buy it. So when we came here and learn about credit and all these things that could a lot of times be, a reason why someone gets denied, it was just a whole, world. And we just never thought it was possible to own a house. None of the people that we knew around owned the house, right?
Right.
So I started in real estate because originally I learned about financing, and I went into do business financing for a couple of years. And through that, I learned about hard money loans. And when I learned about hard money loans, I was very excited to learn about that concept because I knew a friend of mine that fix and flip houses, and I just knew how much money he was making doing that. But I always thought that he had like $1 million sitting around just for him to buy this houses cash, right?
Right.
Until I learned that not necessarily, that there is companies willing to give you 80% on a house acquisition, as long as you come in with a down payment, and they're willing to find your deals. And I, at the time, had saved up a little money, and I also asked some friends to let me borrow some money so that I can, do my first project, because obviously it became tangible now that we had somebody that was willing to fund my fix and flip transaction.
Right.
So that's how I embarked in real estate, fix and flipping, and I made a lot of money in the first couple of years, and I had a lot of fun. But also, I got myself into a very horrible situation because I didn't understand the market. I got really lucky that I got into it like 2019, 2020, and it was just rainbows and butterflies, right? I mean, you can freaking put a bedroom in the MLS and you'll sell it for over asking price.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And for somebody that was a newbie like me, I just thought that, man, that was just the way of the market. So we got so lucky and so blessed that at the beginning, when I started doing that, a lot of people started asking me. Even the main lender that gave me the funds to do that first project, he asked me, he's like, "Hey, Luis, it seems that you have quite a bit of experience doing that. And I always been the lender, but I also always wanted to be the investor. So why don't I partner up with you? I come in with the funds, and you're in charge of all the project, the construction, and we just go 50-50 on the profits." And I was like, okay, fine. Obviously I felt kind of guilty that he thought that I had all this experience, but I was not going to prove him wrong.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I just said, God, if you put me in this spot, it's for a reason, right? So then with his money, we went ahead and bought like 10 houses right away. And it was so beautiful. We did great. We sold over asking price, and it just become a business model, right? It become a business model where people will ask me, "Hey, I got some money sitting around, and I love to put it to work with you. It seems that you're doing great." Because prior to this, I was a chef, man. I was a chef for 10 years. Living in
Right.
Colorado, right? I mean, you mentioned about all the great restaurants and all of the food community. And I was a chef for 10 years. I did sushi for 10 years.
Sushi.
Yeah. That was my career. And that's actually how I become an entrepreneur. I've been always big about, asking people how they managed to get to where they at. And, if you ever gone to eat sushi, you know that you sit in the front of the sushi chef and you get interaction with them, right? So
Yeah.
my clients will be just regulars that come all the time. And one of those guys was a guy that sold life insurance. And I always noticed that he had great cars, he had a nice Rolex, and I asked him, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And he told me, I do um a business I'm sorry, financial planning. So he's like, "You should swing by my office. I love to tell you more about it, and maybe this is for you."
Yeah.
And when I went and saw, and he told me that I could make $750 a pot every time that I did a life insurance policy, I was like, oh my God, sign me up, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So at the time, I was already looking for something else. So anyway, I'm not gonna go so deep into that, but that's how I started my life into entrepreneurship, and I did amazing in that company. I made over $100,000 within like 3 months. I've been in that company, and then from there, I transitioned into business financing. Things didn't go so well with him. My success became the reason why it just didn't work out for me there. And so I decided to embark into different things. And I met this lady, very amazing, one of the most influential people in my life that I met. She's from Peru. And at the time when I met her, she was 34, and she had already made, like, she was sitting on over $50 million just sitting there for her already. Amazing people. So I became the CEO of her company, and I took that company nationwide when it came to alternative business financing, right? So then through that, I learned about her money loans after a couple of years, and that's how I got into real estate, as I mentioned it to you now. But yeah, it was so great. The first couple of years of my career, fix and flipping, everybody's happy, everybody's making money. But all of a sudden, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, without a shame, I tell you that I become really arrogant. I thought I knew it all already. And, I just started making bad decisions, bad investments. One thing led me to another, and it was just a domino effect. one house started taking the other one and the other one and the other one. That combined with my own experience on how to tackle all this stuff, it just becomes unsustainable, and I just got myself in a lot of trouble. $3 million deep in the hole, right? I had like so many houses that the bank ended up taking from me, and it was just a shit show, right?
Yeah.
So in that process, it was really tough emotionally for me. I felt a lot of shame, and I had to do a lot of healing. I spoke to a lot of psychologists, and my wife and my kids were just they've just been amazing. It was such a support for me, but I had to go back to myself and forgive myself for all of the stuff that happened, and all of the things that didn't go according to the plan. Right? I mean,
Right.
I had never made so much money in my life like I did fix some flipping, and all of a sudden, boom, gone like this, right? So so it was definitely a lot. Emotionally it was really hard. I don't know that men even get depressed, but I mean, I didn't even know that we do that, right?
Right.
And because
Especially in that machismo culture. I mean, I know. Like I said, I speak fluent Spanish. I love the Latin American Hispanic culture. I embrace it. My mom was from Ireland, and I think there's just a bond between Irish and the Hispanic Mexican culture, the South American culture. But yeah, that machismo, man, you know, it,
yeah,
it,
so
it can get us.
yeah, and you don't even know that things like that can happen to you, but it was just horrible. I'm deep in $3 million and the whole, and I don't even have the energy to get up and to go and make it happen for me. So it was very, very bad. But thank God I learned through the way. I always been big about learning, and I always connect with the right people. I have the philosophy of Henry Ford, that if you stand among giant shoulders, or if you can stand, you have the ability to stand on giant shoulders. You have the ability to see far more ahead than you could do it on your own. And I just been big in that. I don't know it all, but I know how to add value to the right people, and I know how to recognize when somebody has something really special that they do, and I just do my best to be on their radar, for them to be able to just like spill that knowledge into me, right?
Yeah.
So I learned about creative financing. I learned about subject to, and that moment in time, I said, "This is how I'm gonna get it all back, and this is how I'm gonna be able to create something really big and create the impact that I wanted to have from the beginning in my community." Because I learned the ability, there's just such a powerful tool that creative finance is subject to, that allows just anybody to be able to own a house, as long as they know how to utilize it. And I took that upon myself to go there to teach my community, so that I could just allow my community to be able to own a house. And since then, we have done over 20 transactions where we have helped Latinos get into houses. And we just, it's been amazing. God is great, and I'm a new man and back to feel like myself again. And you know, um, it's just amazing. And one of the biggest reasons, to be honest with you, Matt, is that uh, the other reason why I decided to do creative financing is because I didn't have to put a lot of money into this in order for it to cut it for me.
Okay.
You got to understand that if you're $3 million in the hole, you need to be able to create an income that is going to pay you accordingly to that, in order for you to be able to bounce back, right?
Right.
And so I was not going to go back to my chef job. On my best times, I made $10,000 a month. So I was not going to do that. I had to go and create something that was going to pay me big money, because I needed that, and I couldn't invest any money too. So I learned how easy it was for me to just be able to learn about this concept and to connect the two. So I've been big in bringing buyers to the subject to community, and I've been able to add so much value to this subject to students, that they know every time that they have a house, they send it to me, because I'm going to be able to move it very quick for them. And yeah, that's how we started with Casa Para Todos. And it's just been so fulfilling to not only be able to have the opportunity to do it all over again. That's one thing that I love. One of the biggest things that I love about United States is that here you have the ability to just mess it all up and get back in your feet so many times, because the economy, the government is so great, and things like this you don't see in other countries.
Right.
If things go sideways in other places, like in my country, Mexico, you don't have this opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and what I love, number one, what I love about your story is you know, A, you were willing to communicate with people, especially at the sushi restaurant. You see someone successful. Hey, what are you doing? Remember, success leaves clues, as Tony Robbins says. And then you made it, you hustled, then you maybe made some pivots, some decisions that weren't the best.
Mm-hmm.
You found yourself, as you said, $3 million in debt. That's a tough one. But you woke up, but in the back of your mind, and a lot of us have been in the same situation. A lot of people that I talk to on this podcast, exact same situation. Got a little too big, got a little too successful, and sometimes it's, listen, I remember the term, do not mistake brains for bull market. Sometimes everything's going up and we just catch the right wave and we think it's an easy business. And then boom, we get slapped in the face. God sort of has a way of humbling us a little bit.
Yeah.
But you having had that success, you said, okay, guess what? I've done this before. I got myself here. You woke up, you pulled up on your big boy pants and said, okay, let's go attack this. And you went at it again. A lot of people give up and you didn't. And that's so inspiring for so many.
And you know what? I think that's the biggest quality that somebody that makes it. I think that's the biggest quality that somebody that makes it has compared to those that don't. They just never give up. And that's the biggest message that you got to keep repeating yourself, because you want to give up all the time. You want to throw the towel. Like I tell you completely, I'm very transparent, and there's been times where I'm like, fuck, am I really doing the right thing here? Am I pursuing the right thing? Because at the beginning, building it was not easy. It was a whole new concept that I'm bringing to the Latino community. They even in the American community, it's very unheard of. But especially in the Latino community, they think it's legal. They think it's a fraud, subject to taking mortgages, subject to. They think it's illegal. So it's a lot of work for you to be able to really translate this information so that somebody can easily understand it and not be discouraged by it.
Right.
There is even attorneys telling people that it's illegal, but it's not. There is nowhere in the code that it so says that. We work a lot with Bill Bonchick, the attorney from Colorado, and he's great at explaining subject to. He even gives seminars on this stuff. You get big gurus like Pace Morby from the mentorship where we came from. I mean, it's a beautiful concept of doing this stuff, but it's just obviously anything that is new to people will scare them away.
Right.
And it is our job to be able to translate it into a message that they can clearly understand, so they feel good on their heart.
Yeah. I mean, and I know, I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I'm involved in a lot of communities, via Facebook, Instagram, and all that. And sometimes these real estate agents just have this perception that the sub-2 market's not, it's because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't. I'm like, I work with sub-2s and I look at ARVs all the time, and I look at, because guess what? No one has a corner on the marketplace. And in the sub-2 market, you have so much more flexibility than an agent does. You can bring in capital, and then you've got a niche. I love Casa Para Todos because you're working in your community, and that's your niche. And you're bringing I mean, it's a dream for anyone, but American dream of home ownership back to your community. And I'm going to tell you firsthand, it's the Hispanic, the Latino culture is such a hard working culture. I mean, and it's, and now, and you gave them a pathway to home ownership that they probably would have never seen before.
and that is, man, it's just so regarding. God is great. It is just so regarding to see these people, how much joy you bring to their lives. They hug you. You should see the kids, how they jump. And then even the wives, a lot of times, they hold me by the hand. They're like, Luis, no one is kicking me out of my house. I'm like, no one is kicking you out of your house. This is your house. So it is just so beautiful to be able to have the ability to do that. Just is a business model, but the good that we do out there, it is just good all around, because we also, on the other side, preventing so many of these mortgages to go into foreclosure, and that just benefits the economy all around.
Yeah.
The reason why we get creative and we utilize this is because you already tried to do a conventional transaction, then you know that you cannot sell conventionally, or you're married to the purchase price and you don't want to go under that. So somebody that is going to buy it, as long as you give them terms, they'll give you a purchase price. So it's a
Right.
beautiful concept.
That's right. I had this great individual on yesterday, and when he goes in and makes an offer, and it's exactly what you're saying. I can give you the terms, or I can give you price, but I can't give you terms and price. What do you prefer? And some people like the terms. Other people say, I want a premium over my home, but I understand I'm not going to get the interest rate, the terms that I like.
Yeah.
And when you present it, and if they don't like either, guess what? We don't have to do business. We part our separate ways and we move on. But let's go back to the wife and the mom. What's it like when you hand those keys over and say, "Es su casa"?
Man, they tear up. They hug you. I mean, if you go see my website, we have so many testimonies in there, and their voice breaks, telling their story. And you got to keep in mind, Matt, that all of these people are hardworking people, that
I
they have
agree.
most of my business, and I don't discriminate anybody, but most of the people that come to me, it's business owners that own landscape concrete companies, a lot of contractors, a lot of restaurant owners. That is actually one of the biggest reasons why they can also qualify, because a lot of times they don't know how to structure their taxes correctly. And
Yep.
because of that, they cannot qualify for a mortgage, or they already over leverage their credit, and they don't have access to more houses because they're just a risk to the bank system, right? They
Yeah.
just that their debt to income is too high, so they cannot get another house. So like all of these different reasons, but guess what? They got mattress money,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm telling you, I'd be focusing on those landscapers and those contractors. My sister remodeled her house there in Colorado, just right outside of Cherry Creek area, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're tearing down $2 million homes. But the challenge for her has always been getting good contractors to come in and do the work. And I mean, I'm telling you, if I was in landscaping or construction, I'd be in Denver. I mean, I'm telling you. So you're right. Very hardworking. That mattress money, they don't know how to integrate it, get it into the system. But then what happens is maybe eventually, you show them this path, and then they tighten up their credit, they tighten up their finances, and then they can go to the bank. You're giving them a pathway, which is so exciting.
100%. And a lot of these people, you be amazed. Like a lot of these families, they're living in apartments, like such a small places. I mean, that living in an apartment, the kids don't have a ground to play.
Yeah.
They just watching TV all the time. I mean, it's not good for them in general, but they think that there is no option, or they can never get to home ownership. They're renting houses, but they just don't think it's possible. So when you give them the ability to tell them, you know what, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your credit is, as long as you have a steady income, because we do check. We want to make sure that nobody's going to lose their house. So
Right.
we're going to check their income. We're going to make sure that it's consistent with their bank statements. And then the second thing that we checked is that they had to bring in a significant down payment. Most of the down payments here that they bring in is about 20%. But but as long as they have that, we give them the ability to own. Now, that just tells you the kind of buyers that these people are, because they're bringing big down payments to these houses, and they have the ability for them to be able to do so. This is money, again, that they save up at home because they don't trust the bank system, and they just didn't know that they could just come in with a down payment and buy their house.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you're giving them the gift, the pathway to home ownership, which is the dream. And what I love too, and it's you have a niche. You found a niche where you're of service to, this group of people that didn't have a pathway to home ownership. Casa Para Todos. I love it. That means houses for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Well, at the end, I'm gonna have you give us your contact information. So you're there in Denver, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
¿Qué es su equipo de esporta?
¿Para qué? Para
Well, basketball, baseball. What?
obviously I'm in Denver, so anything from Denver is my team. So Broncos, Rockies, or the Nuggets. I,
Right.
I mean, this is my state, so I want to be able
You
to
love all of
support
them.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Your Nuggets, I think, put it to the Lakers last season, right?
Yeah. But the season before that, they won, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, Denver needs something sports wise.
yeah.
Your Rockies aren't that good.
No, they're horrible. They're horrible. But anyway, we go there. It's fun to watch the game, and at the end of the day, it's just supporting the state.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Where do you get most of your clients from right now? Where's most of your business coming from?
Word of mouth.
Okay.
I always been big building community, and that is one of the biggest things why Pace Morby has been able to done what he's done up to this point. He's a master in building community, and I've been a small extension of that. Everything that I have done in my life, I've been big in building community. So I network a lot with real estate professionals. I don't get on their way. I don't try to tell them what you do is wrong. I don't try to compete with them. I just genuinely want to add value to these real estate professionals so that they can notice me. And anytime that they have a problem, because they will have problems with real estate where they cannot help their client, I want it to be in their mind. And anytime that there is somebody that is underwater or that they cannot qualify, I want them to think of me. So I've been big into doing that. I work a lot with accountants. In fact,
Okay.
one of my biggest partners, her name is Xochitl here in Colorado. She does taxes and accounting, and they refer me a lot of business because they know what a great business model is. And if you go to accountants, they know people's finances too. So
Yeah.
they know who's got money, and a lot of times, all of these entrepreneurs, they come to them for counsel every time they want to buy a house or they want to make an investment. They're going to come to the accountant. So the accountant knows people's needs. So that's a big thing for you guys. We got to make sure that we network with the right people, professionals.
Right.
Just keep people that have influence in the community.
Yeah. I mean, there's a saying: your network is your net worth, and
100%.
yeah, and CPAs, financial planners, estate planners. I mean, a great network of people. And I mean, let's face it, you're a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'm a real estate agent and I really want to close this transaction and the conventional financing methods aren't available, you're front of mind for these agents because they want that transaction.
And at the
And
end of the day, we're getting paid too. So it's a beautiful world.
yeah, it's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Um, uh, when you're not working, what are you doing?
When I'm not working, I spending time with my family. That's one of the biggest things that when I reinvented my life again and when I went back into myself and my values, I just realized that I never want to stay away from my family. And I want my wife and my two daughters just to be in everything that I do. And so, yeah, I just spend time with them. I cook for them and just hang out with them. They're my model day, everything for me. And yeah, it's when this time that I had the opportunity to redo it all over again and do it right. I hang up to my wife's hand and my family, and they're my core and everything for me. So yeah, if I'm not working, I'm spending time with them.
I love that. I love that. So, having worked as a sushi chef for a long time, do you still go back and eat sushi?
All the time,
Do
all the time.
you?
I'm in love with the Japanese culture and their food, and I just love what they represent, and they've been a big part of my life. So yes, and I even have a sushi case at home. Here and there, I cook. I make sushi at home too.
Wow. So I'm telling you, got to know the spots.
Yep, yep,
Next
yep.
time I'm in Denver, you and I are going to go grab some good sushi. My
Please,
sister loves good sushi. My dad loves good sushi.
I'd love to
There's some,
take you
yeah.
to the best spot and do some omakase.
Okay. Uno más vez, por favor.
Omakase?
Okay. Omakase?
Omakase is chef choice,
Okay.
Japanese. So like you
Okay.
just sit in front of the chef and you tell them feed me, and they'll just give you their best dishes. And I think it's the best experience because you don't know what you're expecting,
Yeah.
and that's where you find beauty.
Yeah. Sort of like creative financing, creative chef. You say, hey, and they take that as a compliment, right?
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean, you
whole
say,
thing.
hey, make me what your specialty is, or what's good today. And when you give them that freedom, that's amazing. So you and I are definitely hooking up on my next trip to Denver.
I love to do that, man. I mean, we be here waiting for you, and I love to show you around and yeah, get to know you in person.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Next vacation, where are you going?
Next vacation, I'll do Japan.
Really? Have
Yeah,
you been there yet?
not yet, not
Oh,
yet.
all right. You'll find the real deal there as well.
Yes, yes, it's been a dream of mine. So finally, we want to have the ability to go, and yeah, that's the first place I want to go to.
It's a beautiful culture there. A
Yeah.
beautiful culture there. All right. How do people get a hold of you? Share with me your website, your email, your phone number. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, if they want to get in front of me, 720, they can reach me to my cell phone number, 720 291 4007, 720 291 4007,
Okay.
or they can email me at De La Cruz, my last name, DELA. We're gonna put it there for people to get it, but De La Cruz is my last name
Right.
at casaparatodos.net.
Okay. De La Cruz a la casaportodos.net.
Yeah,
I'll put, and
and
we'll
then
put
obviously
that
our
up.
website.
What's
Our
that?
website is that too. Our website is that too. If you look casaparatodos.net, our website is there.
I'll put that up at the end when we wrap this up. I'll have that at the end. I just appreciate you, Luis, coming on and talking to us, sharing your vision. How inspiring, how motivating you are. And for you to, again, start at a sushi restaurant, talk to people, get out there, you hustled, and then, you had the success, and then maybe, uh, we all make some choices that don't pan out, but you
Yeah.
didn't give up. A lot of people say, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the sushi restaurant. This wasn't for me, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You kept going, and that is so motivating, so inspiring. And thanks for everything you do for your community, making home ownership a reality for so many.
I don't take the full credit myself on not giving up to, because I have a great wife that supports me on everything that I do, and she's just been big, always believing there for me too. So that is huge, you know. I mean, she had never questioned anything that I have done, and she's just been the biggest support for me. So because of that, I have the ability to just continue to bounce back and now be able to really have a business model and feel proud and have the biggest impact in the community.
Yeah, we don't give our spouses enough credit. They keep everything locked down,
Yeah.
everything, stable. So you and people like you and I can go off and handle our business knowing that everything over here is taken care of. So, shout out to your wife. I'm sure your two beautiful daughters are so proud of you. Again, thank you for coming on the podcast, and we'll talk again soon. Definitely when I'm in Denver.
Sounds great, Matt. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and we're looking forward to have you here.
Gracias, my brother.
All right, man.
All
Thank you.
right.